Republican primaries are heating up, with the MAGA base separating from Trump, Hannity, Rick Grenell, and Dr. Oz. Trump wants his base to support Dr. Oz. Hannity wants the base to support Dr. Oz. Rick Grenell and plenty of loyal Trumpists want people to vote for Dr. Oz. But it seems like the majority of the Trump base disagrees and wants to vote for Kathy Barnette. This has led to some smears on both sides of the aisle, with the Trump boys bringing out the big guns, including a full Sean Hannity segment smearing her.
In Pennsylvania's very crowded Republican Senate primary, currently the candidate I endorsed and President Trump endorsed, Dr. Mehmet Oz, is holding on to the #1 spot. But it's easy to see why Kathy Barnette is picking up steam and connecting with voters. We've had her on this program in the past. I've had her on my radio show. She's a very impressive person, an incredible life story. But because she was polling so low just until the last week or so, unfortunately, Kathy Barnette has not gone any kind of rigorous vetting. That is now proving to be a massive problem in this race. Here's why.
I have some of my favorite highlights from it. I'll give you my honest and fair perspective, and I'll try to be as real as possible as always. God bless you guys, and the podcast starts now. What's going on, folks? So I want to do hopefully one of the best breakdowns of what's going on between Kathy Barnette and the Trump situation, because all the Trump people want everybody to vote for Dr. Oz in this Pennsylvania primary, but the MAGA base seems to want to endorse and support Kathy Barnette. And real quick, I just have to say I've been under the weather for a few days, and I do regret not being shaped like Bill Gates. You know, they said anomaly, you have to listen to the experts, you have to trust the science, you should be shaped like Bill Gates. And it wasn't until I actually fell under the weather that I realized I was wrong, and I should have always been shaped like Bill Gates. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now that that's out of the way, I want to say, I've been watching the media attacks on Kathy Barnette. Sean Hannity came out with a full segment, basically. Rick Grenell, Donald Trump himself on Truth Social, and I see that they're saying that she's not an electable candidate. And I want to go through each attack and kind of break it down, because there are certain things that I actually do disagree with Kathy Barnette with. And then we're going to address what people don't like about Dr. Oz, because I think in hopes to really bring Kathy down, like Sean Hannity, Trump, Rick Grenell, etc., they actually kind of gave her the Trump effect. The media covered Trump so much in 2016, it actually made Trump more popular. They created a beast that they couldn't stop. It's like, let's talk bad about Trump, let's talk bad about Trump. But really, they just gave Trump so much attention and media power that he ended up taking the election. And I think that's kind of what the Trump team is doing to Kathy. I mean, she wasn't really that recognizable a couple weeks ago, but them addressing her actually made her more famous. So we're going to get into what everybody doesn't like about Dr. Oz. But first, let's break down each attack from Sean Hannity, because some of them are a little bit dumb and some of them are valid, but I want to just do take by take so I don't get them separated, because Sean did something called reaching. If you guys don't know what reaching is, it's a street term for like exaggerating when you're doing too much. Like, oh, he's reaching. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's desperate to make her look bad, that it comes off like, what? So let's just watch the videos and then we'll break it down piece by piece.
I don't see any scenario where Kathy Barnette can win a general election in Pennsylvania. Let me get specific why. First, in recent years, she engaged repeatedly in some pretty disturbing, very controversial rhetoric surrounding gays and lesbians and Muslims, and she makes no...
So if you saw on the screen there, I had to take it down to talk, but it said that Kathy Barnette, and he was smearing her over this, said that LGBTQ people lead with their sexual preference. That's his first LGBTQ smear. Oh, the mean and, radical Kathy Barnette is suggesting that LGBTQ people lead with their sexual preference. One person who got really upset with this is gay, former, I don't even know what his title is, something in the intelligence community, Rick Grenell, who's like openly gay, and he's the first openly gay. He's somebody who leads with his sexual preference. Yes, he has, a skill set and a job career, but I can't even think of what he does, because he's always just like, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. I'm the first gay this, first gay that. That's what comes to my mind even more than his job, even though his job was important. I think he was like the director of national intelligence. But the point I'm getting to is like, they're smearing her as if this doesn't happen, and it's a radical stance. So It's not to say that every gay person does this, but it absolutely is very common in the LGBTQ community for people to lead with their sexual preference. It's actually kind of annoying. It would be like if I was like, hey, I'm the sex guy, you know, or like, oh, this is who I am and what I do. And it's like, everyone doesn't have to like that or agree with that. You know, it's like it's not necessary. And to be honest, if we want to get into real stuff, which I will later, this was passed, I think gay marriage was passed through, you know, a federal level. I don't know if it was an executive order or not, but I believe it wasn't ever voted on. And when it was voted on, even in California, it was struck down. So to act as if, you know, this is the slippery slope of the right wing. It's like literally 20 years ago, left wing and right wing are against gay marriage. Obama gets into office. He runs pretty much against gay marriage, or he couldn't get elected. He ran as like a Christian. And then he gets into office, and then he legalizes it through federal power. And now we have to act like anybody's a radical who suggests that anybody LGBTQ leads with sexual preference, and leading the charge against her is Rick Grenell calling her a radical when he himself, although he has a great career in government and he does great things, he leads with a sexual preference, so much so that I more identify him as the gay guy who works with Trump more so than I even know what his professional regimen is. And that maybe that's my fault. Maybe I just pay too much attention to headlines. It's like first gay this, first gay that. I've seen it so many times where it's like, is it really that bad of her to suggest that LGBTQ people, some of them do lead with sexual preference? Like, I mean, this is how desperate they are to take this woman down, that I'm going to actually disagree with Kathy later in this live stream, because I don't disagree with everything she said. But it's like, if you're so desperate to make her look bad that you're literally putting that on a screen on Fox News, and then they're going to bash her over Islam, which I do disagree with her over. But it's like, I mean, who has pushed more anti-Muslim, anti-Islam propaganda than Fox News over the last 10, 20 years? How many wars have they helped start with left-wing media in the Middle East that have led to millions of people dead, millions of Muslims, Christians? Oh, but now they're the gatekeeper of LGBTQ and Islam. It's like, it's such a laughable joke. But let's get back to that segment. I just wanted to laugh hysterically at the fact that Sean Hannity, Rick Grenell, and others are trying to paint her as a radical against LGBTQ people, so much so that they're putting says that they lead with sexual preference on the screen. She has some other tweets which are messed up, but in my opinion, hilarious. I like comedy, so I find it funny. And, before I get going, I know she's not perfect. I'm going to disagree with her in a little bit. But when it comes to the race, you have to think somebody that's this loose with their lips and somebody that's this unabashed to speak their mind on Twitter, similar to like why people like Donald Trump in 2016. It's like he said some crazy shit that nobody else would say, but it's like, whoa, that I wouldn't say that. I don't agree with that. However, this guy's raw. He's probably going to defend me. We don't want somebody like Mitch McConnell who says all the right things, but then goes and votes to send our money to a foreign country. So, I'm going to disagree with Kathy in a second. I do think some things she said are super messed up and she needs to speak on. However, there is something fun about remembering Twitter of 8 years ago when people just talk shit and nobody cared. I don't know. I kind of like it, but let's go back.
I don't see any scenario where Kathy Barnette can win a general election in Pennsylvania. Let me get specific why. First, in recent years, she engaged repeatedly in some pretty disturbing, very controversial rhetoric surrounding gays and lesbians and Muslims. And she makes no distinction, for example, between Islam and radical Islam, wants to actually cancel a whole religion. On Twitter, she asked her followers to pray for her because, quote, she was about to board the plane to California and, quote, there was a homosexual female on the flight. In 2015, she tweeted, quote, Obama did what he does best, shoving his homosexual agenda down everyone's throats, and paraded a slew of, quote, gay people before the Pope, whatever that means. She also heavily insinuated Obama was a horrible gay Muslim. Obama is horrible on all measures. He loves all things that are homosexual.
Oh, gatekeeper Sean Hannity doesn't know what it means to say that Obama's pushing a homosexual agenda. Oh, that's just over his head. Oh, I don't even know what that means. It's like, you don't know what that means? I'll start. I mean, he legalized gay marriage, which was something that was unpopular in America for, 250 years. This is what annoys me so much about Republicans. I don't care what side of the fence of this agreement you're on. I really don't. I have friends that feel that way, etc. It's just when they act as if they're just totally oblivious of how people feel. Like this is some radical thought. It's like you used to think that way 15 years ago. So at bare minimum, and this is why I go so hard at Republicans, they gatekeep the slippery slope. They turn into further left versions of the Democrats 10 years ago and then call you a radical if you think like they used to 15 years ago. So if Sean Hannity is this fighter for Islam and, the LGBTQ, if that's who Sean Hannity is, I guess he is that now, hiring, Caitlyn Jenner or whatever, working with her. But it's like, okay, that's fine. But like now you're going to act as if no conservative has ever, disagreed with any sort of the LGBTQ agenda. I mean, have you ever read a Bible, Sean Hannity? Because there's some parts of that might be considered homophobic, but also, the slippery slope has been real. This has really, even myself, as somebody who didn't really think much of it 10 years ago and probably would have agreed with Sean, hold on one second, there's like an ambulance going by. But the slippery slope is so obviously real. When people on the right wing express views, even if they're further than mine, if they go further on this topic in that direction, the last thing I would do is try to call them a radical or act like they shouldn't even be a part of the conversation, because it's so obvious to me as a compassionate person, even if they go further than me, why they feel that way. It's like I don't have to act oblivious like actor Sean Hannity and just be like, how could she say that Obama pushed a gay agenda? It's like, because he literally did. How could somebody feel this way? Well, maybe some people like myself have shifted our positions watching how far the slippery slope goes, and now we don't feel the same way we did 6-7 years ago, just like he feels a different way he does 15 years ago. So without rambling too much, what really grinds my gears the most is not the fact that they have a disagreement on this topic, but these gatekeeper, slimy, grimy Republicans who try to act as if they can't even fathom why some people are putting their foot down and rejecting the slippery slope. On that note, I do want to disagree with what Kathy said, although I do slightly agree with her as well. She also talked about Islam and took a very hardline stance against it. I think even saying to ban it from the U.S. and saying, all of this stuff that was like super, super aggressive. On one hand, I think Kathy should, reevaluate Islam as potentially her ally in her LGBTQ views. I think she might be surprised that they would align with her even more than the liberals, Sean Hannity, or a supposed Republican. We'll call him a Caitlyn Jenner Republican. No disrespect to Caitlyn Jenner. I actually like Caitlyn Jenner more than Sean Hannity now. But in general, I think she would maybe think otherwise. But, I think when it comes to Islam in America, this is what I will say. I have a lot of Islamic supporters, a lot of Islamic people. They love God, they're loyal, they believe in families more than liberals, and I consider them more of an ally than mine than some sort of secular, degenerate, a left-winger, unfortunately. However, I do understand what she was saying, even though I think it's wrong and kind of messed up, where she was trying to say it's not compatible with America, and it's like, this is one thing that left-wingers and right-wingers don't want to talk to. It's like if you imported, say, like Saudi Arabia into New York City and just, copy and pasted people, you put Americans in Saudi Arabia, like New York City and Saudi Arabia and Americans, New York City would turn into Sharia law. And, I don't know what would happen to Saudi Arabia. It would probably get destroyed by like secular degeneracy like New York City. But in general, you get what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't make you a hateful person to realize America's America, Pakistan is Pakistan, China's China, Japan's Japan. And if you shift the demographics and mindset so much, you're going to shift the area and what they believe and what they vote for. That's just true. So I think on one hand, she was trying to bring up that point, and I think it's valid, and even my Islamic supporters would agree with that, where it's like, I don't think Islam views free speech in the same way as America does. I think that personally, and I'm not just pandering, I think Islam has a less hypocritical view on free speech, because they're like, don't disrespect God, and they try to do it in a holy way. In America, we have the most hypocritical view on free speech. Oh, we have the First Amendment, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you have the right to say whatever you want. You just can't disagree with the government. You just can't disagree with Big Pharma. You can't say something mean about LGBTQ people. You can't, piss off a feminist. You can't say this. You can't say that. So it's like I always say we live under FISA law. We live under like Sharia law, except instead of God's law, we live under like Big Pharma's law. And, whatever the big donors don't want you to say, they'll pass a speech law for it. So, I find that in America, we don't even really have free speech, but I do get what she was saying, although I don't think she should have been that harsh on Islam, and I think she should respect her Muslim brothers and sisters. I do think there is a valid point to be had where, these ideas of how America is supposed to run society and how Islam wants to run a society, they're actually not the same. So these are conversations that I try to have all the time. I don't hate left-wingers, but I don't want to live how they live. So I'm trying to tell people we're not the same. Islam and secular people are not the same. Christians and Muslims, although they have some, they share a lot of beliefs and there is a partnership to be had, they're not the same. Secular Jewish people and the rabbi down the street that, won't even turn on his electricity on the weekend, they're not the same. So it's like, why do we always have to act like we have the same values? We literally don't. And I think the world would be better if people are honest about that and say, we actually don't think the same. I don't want to live in Los Angeles. I don't think like them. I don't vote like them. I don't act like them. My views are almost the exact opposite of theirs, and I'm not pretending otherwise. So although I think Kathy went a little too far, I would say most conservatives probably hear what she's saying. And, this idea that Sean Hannity is like the savior of Islam, it's like, bro, nobody has probably pushed more anti-Islam rhetoric than, Republicans over the last 15 years after, 9/11. So it's like, who thinks that you're going to come save Islam? Like now you're the LGBTQ and Islam, hero. It's like, give me a break, dude. And as raw, I'm going to play another clip from Hannity. As raw as Kathy is, even when Trump, before he turned into a big pharma shawarma, we like the fact that he was loose because it's like he's a real person, right? Wow, he said some crazy crap. He's a real person. Kathy's a real person. She's going to slip up just like other people. And we're going to get to Dr. Oz and the questions we have for him, but it's like, I like the fact that she's a little loose with her tongue, even with the LGBTQ stuff. It means to me she's not preparing her whole life. I'm a politician. I'm going to be a phony my whole life. She's going to slip up. She's going to say things that some people like or dislike. But at the end of the day, I am not in Pennsylvania, but I would guess that her voting pattern would be more similar to mine, and I think she's a more trustworthy person and more authentic. On that note, I want to play this other clip from the Hannity smear because they're not saying that she's going to have a better or worse voting pattern than Oz. What they're trying to say is she's unelectable. So I don't know if this is their strategy. To be fair, maybe they think, Kathy can't win, and the only way to save this Senate seat is to get somebody more electable. But what does it mean to be electable if you elect somebody that's basically a Democrat in disguise? But here's the pitch from Hannity and Trump to say, hey, we're not even saying that she's not a better candidate. They're not even trying to really make that claim. They're basically just smearing her and saying she's not electable. She's going to lose us the seat. So that's what they want people to think. Take a listen.
Anyway, Kathy Barnette is running for the U.S. Senate in what has to be described as a purple state, not an easy win for a Republican. In a general election, the media mob, the Democratic Party, they will rip her apart over all of these issues, all of these comments, all of these tweets. If she is unable to clear up these issues right now, before the primary, it's my prediction, and I don't think it's a tough one to make, she will be utterly destroyed in a general election like she was in 2020. President Trump weighed in today. Kathy Barnette will never be able to win the general election against the radical left Democrats. She has many things in her past which have not been properly explained or vetted.
And they're talking about her tweets and stuff. It's like Trump was the king of questionable tweets, but that's why we liked him. We were like, yeah, keep tweeting like that. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if they really think this, but they're trying to say she can't win the general election, so go with Dr. Oz. Now let's get to Dr. Oz, because we've gone off what Kathy has said. She said some things about the LGBTQ people who some people find disturbing, some people find radical, some people find hilarious, and some people agree with. She said some things about Islam that some people would think are vile, others probably agree with, especially on the conservative side. Let's just be honest. And now we go to Dr. Oz, who, okay, I actually think he seems like a nice guy. I've heard nice things from people that know him. However, if you watch his show, he was very early on normalizing transgender childhood in America. He was pushing it as normal a long time ago. That clip resurfaced, and I think Matt Walsh has been really outspoken. Matt Walsh said DeSantis 2020. Matt Walsh is tired of Trump. I actually like Matt Walsh. I like him more than Trump. I think he's pretty authentic, and, you know, Matt Walsh of Daily Wire seems to speak his mind. I find him way more authentic than Trump, but, you know, he's just like, how are we going to, it's not even like we're electing a conservative. It's like we're electing like a straight up like far leftist who is, you know, normalizing the transitioning of children. You know, so Matt Walsh takes a hardline stance against that, as do, I think, most conservative families. And then you go to his Second Amendment stances. So I found a clip, didn't seem that long ago, of Dr. Oz supporting red flag laws. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of most conservatives and Second Amendment enthusiasts, red flag laws is the slippery slope to gun grabs. Because if you can say, well, and there's a whole clip, I've played it before, of Dr. Oz saying, you know, let's get people to snitch on each other and say, well, he's mentally ill or he did something, and then they could take your guns. Like, he's totally in support of red flag laws in this clip. And although it sounds nice, I even know some conservatives that fall for this, but I say, listen, if they can say they could say anybody's mentally ill. They think if you vote for Trump, you're mentally ill. They think if you have a family, you're mentally ill. I mean, the people running this government and the media, they literally think normal people are mentally ill, and they're like literally mentally ill, like openly depressed and suicidal, yet they keep doing hit pieces on everybody. So it's like, you don't want to give the government or anybody the power to say, well, you've been red flagged in the social credit system, now we take your gun. That is obviously a slippery slope to the entire Second Amendment being taken away. So in my opinion, and in the opinion of gun enthusiasts everywhere, you can't be pro Second Amendment if you're pro red flag law. Like Dan Crenshaw tried to be one time. It's not possible. So he's pro red flag law. In 2018, he tweeted about the CDC. Actually, he wanted the CDC to treat gun violence like a public health crisis. Now getting the CDC involved with guns, that's exactly what we don't want. And here's the crazy part that a lot of people don't know. Donald Trump actually signed that into the omnibus bill. Ted Cruz, believe it or not, sounded the alarm on it and said it was messed up. Trump signed it anyway. So I know a lot of people like Trump because he was cool. You know, he did a lot. He started this cultural movement. There were some judge wins and stuff. But I think he sees Dr. Oz in himself. I mean, you know, as somebody that's super conservative like Trump, it's like, not really. I mean, in 2020, he printed more money than Barack Obama. He went full socialist and turned into a Pfizer Moderna salesman, and he loves Johnson & Johnson so much. Cool. So it's like, I mean, all these left-wing ideas that, you know, Dr. Oz had, oh, let's get the CDC. Trump actually signed that into the omnibus bill. I don't think Trump wrote it. It's not like he orchestrated it, but he definitely wasn't, you know, putting a block like a Rand Paul would have done or something. You know, there's a big difference between Rand Paul and Donald Trump when it comes to constitutionalism and taking a hardline stance on libertarianism stuff. So, you know, in general, you know, when it comes to the Second Amendment, Dr. Oz, it's not like he said a mean tweet about homosexuals 5 years ago. I'd rather that than somebody that I don't even think would protect the Second Amendment. I'm not convinced that, you know, Dr. Oz will. All recent, and it's not like 10 years ago or 5-7 years ago. It's like in the last couple years, he has proven he wants to get the CDC involved with gun control, and he has also done a segment on his show supporting red flag laws. So that's a major, major red flag. When it comes to pro-life and pro-choice, this is a big issue. Most conservatives are pro-life. That's just how it is. Dr. Oz was on The Breakfast Club, and he kind of flip-flopped on pro-choice and pro-life. I mean, it didn't sound like he was pro-life at all. But now he says he is pro-life. Now he's a gun-toting conservative. So with him, as much as I think he's a nice guy, I don't believe him at all. I mean, it sounds like he's a Democrat to me, and I'm not just saying like he's a lame Republican. Like I don't even think he's like as conservative as Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is conservative in some ways, but he's also an absolute shill fraud dummy who wants to send your money to foreign wars and, you know, start all these anti-American conflicts. But Lindsey Graham actually does have some conservative values. I don't like Lindsey Graham at all. I don't trust Lindsey Graham at all, but he's somewhat conservative. Like, I don't even think Dr. Oz is that conservative. I would even argue, after looking at all Dr. Oz's policies, I don't even know if he's as conservative as Mitt Romney, who is a total joke, but I even think Mitt Romney has some conservative views. When I watch Dr. Oz and listen to him and watch his clips and stuff, I mean, I'm seeing clips of him with Michelle Obama, clips of him defending Jussie Smollett after the Jussie Smollett situation. You know, I mean, you go through his entire thing, it's like he literally sounded, acted, performed, tweeted, spoke, and politicized as a Democrat for the last 10, 15 years of public life. And now he's this gun-toting MAGA guy that, President Trump backs. And it's like, thank goodness, thank goodness that the MAGA base is standing up, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude. I think Trump, in many ways, governed like Dr. Oz would. I don't think Trump was this principled Rand Paul like he pretended to be. I think Trump is way more authentic than Dr. Oz. I think he's way more likable. I think he's way more charming. But that's what also makes him so dangerous, because he paints this illusion that he's doing way more than he's doing. And even for me, I'm pretty chill, where I'm patient. I know that it's hard. I don't expect Trump to do everything for me. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't want to be him. It sucks. He's getting crapped on by the media all the time. They're lying about him. They're going after his family. I had the deepest sympathy for Donald Trump, but in my head, I'm always thinking, let's see what his final move is, because, the first couple years, 2 years were okay. He was Russia collusion. They were trying to block him. And then the third year, he started getting a little sneaky, signing executive orders I didn't like, passing speech laws I didn't like, signing the omnibus bill, which had gun control legislation in it. He started turning into a Democrat in 2019. I started talking about it. People say, where were you then? You could watch my videos from 2019. I called him out on the speech laws that he was passing. Nobody wanted to hear it because it wasn't convenient. I called him out on the omnibus bill, which passed a bunch of anti-Republican stuff, but nobody wanted to hear it. And then in 2020, under the guise of the pandemic, which, by the way, Trump helped usher in with his executive order from 2019 with the CARES Act that he signed. A lot of this great reset stuff that is restructuring society was signed into pen by Donald Trump proudly, and he tried to, at the time, blacklist anybody like Thomas Massey who disagreed with it. But it's he kind of ended up going out like a socialist and a communist, but he kept putting I would say a proverbial carrot in front of people's face. That's the Trump movement. It's not at first it was execution all the time. It seems like we're really winning, but now it's almost just wait, anomaly, it's going to happen in November. Oh, January, it's going to happen anomaly. Oh, Mike Lindell's frankspeech.com is going to do it in August. Oh, it's going to 2024. And I'm I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm more of the Matt Walsh type, where it's I'm not just going to sit here like a dummy stooge watching a Raiders game. I feel like I'm on the field. I'm not trying to take Trump's position or anything, but I am a taxpayer. I pay way too much to this government, so I'm going to talk my shit. And I don't think that he really is who he pretended to be. And I don't think that this endorsement is really that uncharacteristic of him. I think he's constantly hired people who hate him around him, and it's either that he's the biggest fool ever, or it's a tough job, or maybe he's just that type of person. I don't know. I don't see, although it's an easier job, I don't see Ron DeSantis hiring a bunch of people who hate him. He hired a good surgeon general. He's got a good lady, assistant / spokesperson. Everybody that DeSantis hires seems to like him, agree with him. And, it's not this big drama show. With Trump, it's always oh, I hired Scaramucci, I fired Scaramucci. It's you didn't know? He's now he's going to CNN. It's damn, I know it's difficult and you can't trust everybody and it's a hard job. But I think, when it comes to the endorsement of Dr. Oz, we understand that you might need to win this election, but to me, as somebody who's very compassionate, I think it's very possible Dr. Oz has changed his views, but he needs to prove it to us, because his view, supporting Jussie Smollett after the attack, if you, after the last 5 years, if you didn't know something was up with that attack, I wasn't going to say it publicly because I'm not trying to get in some sort of defamation lawsuit without proof. But it sounded like bullshit the second it came. It's I was just waiting for the information to come out to disprove that. But the fact that he was part of the media pushing that hoax, the fact that he was part of pushing transgender children and normalizing it, it's this guy's further left than Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham and everything that he's shown. And, his way of proving otherwise is him at a Trump rally, I'm smart. Trump thinks I'm he doesn't come off like somebody that I trust or anyone trusts. And to be optimistic and positive at the end, I think that this situation, I'm not going to say I don't care who wins. I think Kathy will vote better, and I hope that she wins. But, I think the big takeaway from this is MAGA has woken up. I think this is what it took, weirdly enough. I mean, it's crazy that the CARES Act didn't wake MAGA up as much. Operation Warp Speed corruption didn't wake MAGA up. Trump's 2-year vaccine sales tour didn't fully wake MAGA up. Like, nobody wanted to say what me and other people have been saying for a year until Donald Trump endorsed Dr. Oz, and it just lit a fire under MAGA's ass like nothing I've ever seen before, which is hilarious because there's so many other red flags with Trump. I mean, he did like 20 things in the last 2 years that totally prove that he's not really on the same page as everyone else. But, thank God this is what it took for people to be like, no, I'm not just walking with you. And I think this is what the GOP needs. And this is what I've been trying to frame it as always. I think Trump is way better than a Lindsey Graham. I think he's proven himself as like better than a Mitt Romney. But this idea that Trump is this unquestionable deity of the right wing is going to get us in trouble, because in many ways he definitely broke free. In many ways he joined the establishment and pushed their status quo, especially in 2020 and 2019. So to treat Trump as if he's above the rhino GOP scrutiny, he shouldn't be, and he's not. All you have to really look at is how they're trying to I'm not going to say cancel Sean Hannity, but look at how MAGA's treating Sean Hannity versus Donald Trump right now. Hannity did a good job during the Trump administration, but I always kind of pegged him as somebody who would flip on us when another war started, and I was right. I think if people have watched me since 2017, I believe I've said that publicly. I said, Sean Hannity's doing a good job right now, but I don't see him. He's not like a Tucker Carlson. Even Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham is really America first. Tucker Carlson, America first. Hannity is like a Trump coattail rider. Whenever the new war starts, he'll be, Patriot Act Sean Hannity, Iraq War Sean Hannity. So I was right about that. But in general, Sean Hannity is getting absolutely ratioed, and people are like, Sean's done, your career's done, it's over, we're done with you. And Trump did the same thing that Sean Hannity did, but people are not going to cancel Trump in the same way that they're canceling Hannity. And I'm not telling people to cancel Hannity or Trump. I'm just saying it's funny, like when somebody in the Republican Party does something that Trump does all the time, they literally like try to screw, like Kristi Noem does one thing wrong, and everybody's like, she's done. I'm done with her. And I don't care, because I'm not going to bat for politicians I've never even met. But it's like Trump does 10 times as much as that, and people like they just have to like act like it didn't happen. They're like, and it's just funny. But I'm not saying to cancel anybody. I'm personally glad that this happened, and I think moving forward, people really need to challenge the GOP. Because what I've seen, not just out of Rick Grenell, Trump, Hannity, etc., they are entitled to their opinion. We don't have to agree. It's actually good to have a disagreement, right? They want that candidate. People want this candidate. Some people agree with them, some people don't. That's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that, and everybody doesn't have to think the same in general. But I will say, knowing a lot of this type of stuff, and also just, I'm not really like in the industry so much, because if you guys know me, I sit here, I do my work, I pride myself on my ethic, but I'm not one of these people. I don't want to be a politician. I don't want any of this stuff. So it's like, I'm not out there trying to get donor money and be everybody's popularity. The reason I'm popular is because I make great content and everybody likes it. It's not because I go and suck up to everybody. So that's why I don't get booked as much, but it's all good. But in general, in that world, I've coexisted in that world a little bit. And what I could tell you is there's a difference between somebody that's super authentic, super organic, and super like, oh, that's a good person who really cares about the country, and these Republican gatekeepers. What people don't realize, and I'm not trying to crap on anybody, because there are a lot of great people on social media that I love and support, and I think social media is like taking over, and Hannity's losing power. And this is why they're so mad at MAGA and Trump supporters and me and everybody else. They're so mad because we were never supposed to have any power. I mean, citizen journalists were never supposed to have more power than Fox News and CNN. Citizens were never supposed to be able to choose their own president and disagree with the media. They're pissed because people like Bernie more than Hillary, and then people like Trump more than Hillary, and and now people like Kathy more. Like and I'm not blaming the Trump base. They're allowed to disagree with me, but like the real establishment is like furious that citizens even have like the free speech. Like, oh, Elon Musk wants to give citizens the power to speak with blue check marks. It's like, go fuck yourself. Excuse my language, but it's like they treat us like animals and slaves, and like, go wear a mask, but I'm not going to wear a mask. Oh, don't speak. Like, literally, they think we're like literal like serfs. So they're furious that we have this much power. But in general, hopefully you guys can tell the difference. And I pray that you use your discernment. Don't accuse people falsely, but there's a real difference. Being in these circles, you could tell right away. There's something called someone that's authentic, real deal, talented, good at what they do, and deserve to be there. And then there's the status quo gatekeepers. And these are the people that make their round on Fox News, sometimes Newsmax, sometimes they speak at TPUSA. And, they're booked as like the guy, I don't know, who just will say basic Republican stuff, right? I'm a Republican, yeah, build the wall. And it's like, these type of people are like grift level 10,000, where it's like they don't even care about core issues. They care about getting money, attaining power, rising the ranks of the GOP, and then gatekeeping their own power. And a lot of these people, they care about gatekeeping their own power more than they even care about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. And I've noticed that so much where, a lot of people rise the ranks of this gatekeeper type power, and then when you challenge them, they get like pissed off because it's like the student questioning the teacher. They're like, how dare you question me? I've spoken on Fox News 17 times, sold 15 books, and it's like, but you're an intellectual lightweight. You're a dummy. You couldn't even compete with me. You could never do what I do. But it's like, yeah, you sucked up to enough people that they'll cart you around like a little puppet, and you'll say your, Sean Hannity lines or whatever, and then you go to the next event and you speak at the school, no one cares, and but like it does. So what? But those type of people are way more prevalent than a lot of people realize. So a lot of good-hearted conservatives and Trump supporters, I think, just assume sometimes like, oh, those people really care about me. Those people are like super authentic. And it's like a lot of them are really not. So, I think with the Dr. Oz endorsement, maybe they're right? I'll be as honest as I can. Maybe they're right. Maybe Dr. Oz is more electable. Maybe he will have conservative values and he will be better. And maybe Kathy Barnette would get blown out. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure they made that same case with Donald Trump. I'm sure they said he was unelectable. I'm sure they said that, someone like a Mitt Romney would have been more safe. And, I think Donald Trump defied those odds and proved that you don't have to be a straight-laced loser to get elected. But maybe they are right. But maybe, they just care about power. And it's just like, oh, Dr. Oz is our guy and he's on television. It's like, but did you guys vet him? They said, did you vet Dr. Oz? I mean, I don't know. If I interviewed him, which I might try to if he wins this thing, it's like, bro, every issue that I care about and conservatives care about, almost every single one, you're on your television show or Twitter taking a mainstream left-wing stance. So it's like, are you really, but that's where with a lot of people around Trump, it's like a big caste system where it's like, I want to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'm next in line. I speak at Fox News. I'm the TPUSA person. I do. Like, it's so much of that. And so many of these people, no offense, don't even have that much talent. They're not like intellectual heavyweights. They're not willing to press the GOP on tough issues. They're willing to just kind of coast to the point where they get the power, and that's how you turn into Pelosi's and McCarthy's. It's like, if we win the House in November, which I hope that the Republicans do, like, I don't trust McCarthy. He's okay. I guess he's better than Pelosi, but it's like, these are the type of people that you're going to get. And there's so many McCarthy types waiting in line around Trump, hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, doing all the stuff, doing the Fox News tours, telling you what you want to hear. And then when, you finally stand up to them, they're going to freak out and tell you what to think. So I applaud MAGA and the Trump base and the conservative base and whatever people want to call themselves for thinking of their own, challenging Trump and challenging his ilk. Because, I know a lot of people don't want to admit it, but Trump got way too comfortable with his power. Everybody around him got way too comfortable with their power, and I think Trump and people around him have lost sight of what made him special in the first place and what our country needs. And I don't at all think that, although I would appreciate him raising the stock market, oil, I mean, he's better than Biden, let's be clear. I mean, Biden is purposely sabotaging the country. I don't even think it's like he's a joke. So yeah, Trump would be better than Biden, but as far as will he free us from, I don't know. I'd rather like a Rand Paul or give DeSantis a shot. But I think, Trump knows how bad Biden is. And it's like he's just coasting off his 2016, 2017 fame. And a lot of these people around him have gotten too comfortable. So I think it's great for MAGA and the Trump base to really shake it up and be like, listen, we are free thinking individuals. You need to sell us on this. Don't give them such a softball. If they really want you to vote for Dr. Oz, it's got to take more than some LGBTQ Kathy Barnette smears of bad tweets, because bad tasting tweets is a lot less concerning than literally every stance that we agree on, including the Second Amendment, which is one of the, if not the most important thing, that your guy that you're supporting literally doesn't agree with most of the Republican Party. That's a bigger deal than tweets. So that's my message for Hannity, Grenell, Trump, etc. God bless them. Maybe they're right about this. I'm always willing to admit that, but I think it's healthy for people to disagree in the Republican Party, and I absolutely think it's healthy for people in the Republican Party to challenge Trump as if he's just another rhino. Doesn't mean you have to hate him like that or anything, but you shouldn't really hate anybody. But, challenge him. Don't treat him as if he's the rhino fighter fighting the rhinos. He's friends with all these people. You know what I'm saying? He's become the rhino master. It's like, it's not a knock to him. It's just treat him like a Republican. I mean, a politician, both. He's a politician now. Treat him like that, and we will see massive gains and massive success. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then soon, sorry guys, I've been a little under the weather. I'm going to also cover, there's been a big beef between two powerhouses in Republican media, Dinesh D'Souza and Tucker Carlson. Dinesh seems like he pretty much started this. He wanted, Tucker to, push his documentary 2000 Mules on Fox. I guess Tucker didn't want to exactly the way Dinesh wanted him to or something. So then Dinesh is publicly putting text messages from Tucker's, his top guy. I'm going to do a full video on that because I think they're both valuable. But, Dinesh is taking shots at Tucker, who I would say is not only the best news analyst on television, but he's probably one of the most important figures in Republican and conservative politics. And although I like Dinesh, I think he does cool work, and I think his family's super nice, and he's been such a big name in right-wing media for so long. I mean, I think it's a pretty low blow and a pretty unnecessary drama to, be taking shots at Tucker Carlson because he won't, push exactly what you want him to push when you want. I mean, it seems like I read the text and stuff. I'll do a whole video on it, but I don't, it seems unnecessary to me, but everybody's got their opinion. I'll do a better breakdown of it, read it, and that'll be the video for tomorrow. Let's see what people are talking about here. Someone said, DJ said, go Barnette. Let's see. Colton said, you the man anomaly. Appreciate you, Colton. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. No, I'm just kidding. Someone said Dinesh is messing with Tucker, LOL. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole video on it. So, I mean, just to give you guys a little, because, since you guys stayed till the end, I want to give you like a little preview. So, Dinesh put out this documentary about the ballot harvesting and tracing them. And I do want to actually watch it, but he basically was saying, Tucker is blocking it from Fox News. That's what he was tweeting at first. So he started like crapping on Tucker, saying Tucker's blocking it. He won't let Fox play it. And my thought was this before all this even transpired. It's like with what happened to Mike Lindell, Sidney Powell, and, the massive Dominion lawsuits and stuff, I understand as a business or a news analyst like myself, you will be responsible for what people say and show on your stream. So, you don't have to do what everyone else wants all the time. Like, I think Tucker, and this is why I give Tucker the benefit of the doubt too, Tucker was one of the ones to say that he didn't fully trust Sidney Powell, and everybody got mad at him, including myself, and I have to apologize because I think Tucker was right. I'm not shitting on Sidney Powell, but it's like, how much they promised versus how much they delivered was quite the difference. But in general, it's like Tucker was right about that, and it was a difficult decision to be made. Now it's like you have Dinesh basically trying to bully, in my opinion, Tucker Carlson to post his documentary. Then, according to his own text, like he was going to play it, but not exactly how Dinesh wanted to. So then Dinesh publicized all the text messages and being like, and to me, in my personal opinion, I like Dinesh. I mean, he follows me, I think, on Instagram and Twitter. His family's been cool to me. I think, I've been invited to one of his, events. I think, shout out to Brandon Straka. I think he, invited me the one time because he knew Dinesh better. But in general, it's like, I mean, I'm reading it and I'm like, I would not like it. Like, he's like demanding that Tucker does what he wants to do. It's like, bro, Tucker is the biggest show on television. I mean, if he's going to cover it at all, it is nice of him. He doesn't have to, just like I don't have to do anything. So to me, it made Dinesh kind of look like a dick. And it's just like super entitled. Like, you got to do what I want you to do now on your show. And when Tucker's producer went off on him and said some rude stuff, Dinesh is like now playing the victim and saying, oh, wow, how is he acting this way to me? Oh my gosh, can you believe that Tucker's guy is treating me this way? And it's like, you started it, dude. You've been shitting on Tucker publicly for a week now, tweeting all these things about him, saying he wouldn't play your documentary on your show. Now you're admitting that he will play the documentary on his show, but not exactly the way you want him to. It's like, it's very questionable behavior, but at the same time, it's like Tucker puts out great documentaries himself. I heard a great documentary on Hungary. And when he does a documentary, he doesn't make everyone else share it. Like, if I make a documentary, I'm not going to bully people into sharing it. If you want to share it, share it. I appreciate the promo, but if not, it's all good. Like, I don't know. To me, it made Dinesh look super, like, not good. But, I still like him. I appreciate him. I'm not trying to say anything rude or nasty. But as somebody who likes Dinesh and Tucker, it's like, why are you just starting a beef with Tucker Carlson because he won't do exactly what you want him to? That type of stuff makes me not even want to watch the documentary. I will because I want to see it. But it's like, it's $30. Like, it's so important that it needs to be whatever. That's fine. But I don't know. To me, all this stuff is like, something feels off about it. I think Cernovich said it best on Twitter. Cernovich said that Trump raised for election fraud or stop the steal or whatever. He said that Trump raised like $250 million to, fight this stuff. And Cernovich keeps asking, where's that money? Where's that money? No one cares where that money is because everybody's running in circles around the Pied Piper, right? It's like run in circles, go to the Capitol, get set up by the FBI, run in circles around Mike Lindell. I had a boomer, telling me, oh my God, frankspeech.com is the future. It's this great social media. I go to frankspeech.com. It's like not even a social media. It's like a website. I mean, I haven't seen it recently, but it's like he likes Mike Lindell so much, he thinks frankspeech.com is going to be like the new Facebook. But I'm on Frank's Speech. I like Mike Lindell too, but like, it's not an impressive website. It's okay. I mean, it's cool. I wish him the best, but it's not going to rival Facebook or TikTok. Like, what are you talking about? So, it's not like Truth Social or anything. So it's like people get so hyped up off this election stuff that they're willing to just like slash at anybody who disagrees with them and follow anybody who tells them what they want to hear. But they're, where's the $250 million if Cernovich is right and that's how much Trump raised? I would guess Cernovich is right because he does his research. Where's all that money? No one cares. It could have been used for something. So it's like, we're just going to keep playing this game and then people feel the need to bully other people. If you don't cover this documentary, you're one of them. It's like, what's going on with Sidney Powell? What's going on with these lawsuits? I'm curious, are they going to win them or not? I don't know. But, are they going to win these Dominion lawsuits? Did they really want discovery? Because when Sidney was on, she said basically, this is not word for word, but I remember Sidney Powell saying, I hope that they do sue me or something like that because she gets discovery and then she can expose it and we'll see if that's true or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish her the best. I want Sidney Powell to win, but I don't have to follow in her footsteps. I don't have to give her airtime if she's getting sued for $1 billion. I'm not knocking her. I hope she is right. I hope she has all the evidence, and I hope she gets a fair judge. But it's like the fact that after so many failures of this, first one being January 6th, the total setup event, then the, all these lawsuits, and then the Mike Lindell 3-day parade of him, and like everybody's like, oh, Trump's going to be back in office. It's like, I want to make the elections better, but I don't like to see the bullying when people are like, if you don't cover this now, it's like, Tucker doesn't have to do anything that he doesn't want to do. I don't have to do anything that I want to do. I do want to see the documentary so I can see the hype, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm not as easy to sway as everybody else. I could see both sides of the argument. I do think something happened, but I don't know. At the same time, I would have to see it to know. I just don't. As somebody who likes Dinesh a lot and likes Tucker a lot, I don't like seeing them try to slash at Tucker, who I would consider even more important than me in this field. It's like Tucker, and no offense, but Tucker's, in my opinion, more important than Dinesh right now. And it's not saying Dinesh hasn't been more important or Dinesh can't be more important, because he's a super important figure, but it's like him trying to slash at probably the only person that semi has our backs in the media and trying to slander him like over because he wouldn't play your documentary exactly how you wanted it to play. That's corny to me. That's like egotistical. That's nasty. That's bad faith. I don't like it, So it's like that type of behavior is just like unnecessary. If you don't agree with someone, it's fine. You want to debate them, but like, I don't know. I don't see how that's helping the movement at all or helping anybody. Someone said, keep your mouth shut if you haven't watched it yet. I mean, your name is Nasty Pig, and you have a picture of a pig, but okay. Have I looked at the pandemic treaty agreements? I have not. Someone said there's more to the fiasco, but I do see your point. All I'm saying is this, and then I'm going to take off. I don't think it does the documentary justice to just try to bully people into promoting it. That's all I'm going to say. If you reach out to Fox News and they want to promote your documentary, cool. If they don't want to, cool. It's like Fox does. I don't even like Fox, but it's like Fox and Tucker don't have to do anything. They don't have to play my videos. Do you see me demanding that Fox News play my videos because I think they're better than most of their shows? I don't give a shit. It's not, Fox... That's nice. You think Fox couldn't help me make more money or promotion? Of course they could. They could do a lot for me. But at the same time, I don't care. So it's like to demand that they have to do it. Fox doesn't have to cover anything ever. You know what I'm saying? There's so many independent outlets and so many other places to get it out there. So, if they don't want to cover the documentary for whatever reason, okay. But then it's like, now you're going at Tucker because Tucker wanted to play part of it, but not the exact. I guess Dinesh said that he wanted to cut some of the stuff out and not play the full trailer. It's like you're demanding that Tucker plays the full trailer, and if he only plays part of it, that's not good enough for you. I mean, that's kind of douchey, is it not? I mean, Tucker doesn't have to play any of my stuff. If he plays 10 seconds of my clip, he's doing me a favor. You know what I'm saying? If I say play my 5-minute clip and he only wants to play 20 seconds, I mean, either I say, no, I'm not interested, no thank you, or I say, thank you, I appreciate it. That's just how it goes. Tucker doesn't have to do anything for me, just like Dinesh. Dinesh doesn't have to invite me to an event. Dinesh doesn't have to put me in a documentary. I'm not going to slander his name because he doesn't jump when I say how high, So, I mean, that's kind of what he's doing to Tucker, in my opinion, and it's messed up. I'm not saying the documentary's not good. I hope it is. I'm just saying, is that not douchey to you guys? You think everyone has to do what you say when you say, or else you're going to publicly put private text messages on Twitter to try to expose their upset producer because you're acting like a dick? I mean, it's a jerk move. And that's just how I feel. Maybe I shouldn't say what I feel, but I mean, I wouldn't want people to do that to me either. I think it's incredibly douchey to just post private text in general, but especially when you're just throwing a fit because they won't cover it. No one has to cover any of your stuff ever. PragerU doesn't have to cover it, your stuff. Daily Wire doesn't have to cover your stuff. No one has to do anything. And the fact that, it's like if Tucker wanted to play a piece of it, but not the piece that you wanted, okay. So, like, he's got to play the full trailer or you're going to throw a fit? I wouldn't play it either, to be honest, at that point. If it didn't, I don't know. Am I wrong? Let me know what you guys think. Someone said Fox has been dead to me for a while now. I don't even own a television, but as far as, the landscape of cultural media, Tucker Carlson is the most important person. And with all of this election stuff, here's the thing. There is a story to be told, and I pray that documentary did it. I want to watch and figure out for myself, but there are plenty of bad actors that are not telling that story properly and getting people in trouble. So there's nothing wrong with not wanting to join that brigade. Trump allegedly raised $250 million to fight election fraud. Where's that money? No one gives a shit because everybody's brainwashed running in circles around Mike Lindell. January 6th was a huge failure and a huge setup. Nobody cares. Oh, come to the 6th, Patriot. It's like, how many times have people got set up? There's multiple Trump supporters in billion-dollar lawsuits because they were talking maybe more stuff than they could back up. Maybe they can back it up. But it's like the amount of carnage and freaking, shrapnel around this event is no joke. There's people sitting in prison right now because they were listening to Daddy Trump, the vaccine salesman, who told them Mike Pence was going to do a Hail Mary for him, which he never was. So this idea that Tucker Carlson has to jump when someone says to jump around a topic that has so much carnage around it, so many bad actors around it, and so many exaggerations around it, it's like there's this much stuff going on, but some people claim there's this much stuff going on. Mike Lindell's like going off and saying like California could, it's like, I don't know exactly. It's like people are like, all 50 states were going for Trump. It's like, guys, this doesn't make me want to listen to you anymore. It's like, I do think that things could have been different and things, mass mail-in ballots are an absolute catastrophe. But this, if I say anything, people will believe it in that crowd. I'll be like, every state went to Trump by 70%. And people are like, that sounds legit to me for Frank speech. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a toxic community now, not because nothing happened during the election, but because people will not scrutinize their own side, and anybody who says anything they'll raise money, throw money at them. Where's the $250 million, $250 million? Where did that money go? Did it go to anybody rotting in prison for listening to Trump on January 6th? Probably not. So my point is this. My point is not to say the documentary is not good. My point is not to say that Mike Lindell didn't bring any good points up. My point is, like, me, Tucker, anybody, no one is under any sort of, responsibility to follow in line and say exactly what everyone else is going to say. In fact, I like Tucker Carlson more than I like most people in the Republican Party because he's himself. I guess I feel semi-personally about this because I like when people suggest things to me. I like when people inspire me. I like working with people. I like helping people. But one of my pet peeves is, I don't like when people try to bully me and pressure me into being them. I'm me. People watch my show to listen to me, not you. So with Tucker Carlson, he's the cream of the crop right now in Republican television. So, trying to make him do what you want him to do, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather watch a 10-minute Tucker segment than that documentary. That's just me personally. Millions of people feel the same way as me. Millions of people don't. But I don't like to see people bully me, and I don't like to see people bully people I like. If you want to suggest that they play it, but to release private info and just try to smear them because they won't do exactly what you want to do around a topic that has been so toxic and so, sloppily done. People could say it hasn't been sloppily done, but, I go to January 6th in general. People were saying on Twitter, if you don't go to January 6th, you're not a real patriot. Basically trying to bully, guilt, and shame people to going to January 6th. If you didn't go to January 6th, you made the smartest decision ever because you potentially got out of phone calls, freaking court. A lot of people got bashed for things that they did and some people for that they didn't do, people that were just standing there. In general, it was a shit show. So I watched for 3 months around this election stuff. People bully me, people bully others publicly, just say, you're not a patriot, you're not a real one, you're a fraud, you're a Democrat if you don't follow Trump to the Capitol. And the reason I didn't want to, for multiple reasons, but one was Trump was like a sleazy Moderna salesman. He's like, Moderna, every other tweet was like, Moderna election, Moderna election. He sounded like a big pharma puppet. So I'm like, I don't trust this guy enough to show up for this event. So whatever, I don't care. I took the bullying, I took the lies, I took the blame. And then on that event, Trump is like convincing a majority of people there that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election. I don't care what people say to me. I don't care how unpopular it is. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, and I don't care who gets mad. If you're so desperate to win the election that you're waiting until January 6th to throw a big fit at the Capitol for Mike Pence to overturn the election, that means you screwed up from November to January, or you didn't get enough evidence, or the courts didn't go in your favor, which sucks, which is unfortunate. I think you should keep fighting, but it was like a big fit for just MAGA enthusiasts to feel like maybe they still had a chance, and a lot of Trust the Plan clan was there, and there's going to be this big moment. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, Mike Pence is not going to overturn the election, and it doesn't even really make sense because he can't. He could just send the electorates back to the people who sent the electorates in. And here's a little, I think, unfortunate truth too. The people who sent the electorates in, if they didn't want to do that, they shouldn't have sent them in the first place. But do you know why they did? Because they didn't have any other option. And then, this new evidence came out of them. Nothing new came out. They just got bullied and pressured and probably threatened by Trump supporters. So then these electorates who were getting shit on, then they're like, you know what? I had a change of heart. Send the electorates back to me. Bullshit. If you wanted to overturn the election with the electorates, you would have done it in November or December. They didn't. Then they got pressured by MAGA. So then they said, send them back. And then everybody said, Mike Pence will send them back. It was a stupid whole moment, in my opinion. But in general, if you didn't play along with that narrative, everybody bullied you then. If you didn't play along to Mike Lindell's 5-day, escapade, and people were like, Trump's going to be back in office in August. It's like, this stuff's getting tiresome. So it's like, yes, I believe that elections need to be more fair. I agree with people, but it's like calling everybody a racist. And I'm not saying that I bet this documentary has profound evidence. I'm not trying to tie this. I'm just saying if you're sloppy with everything you do, everybody doesn't have to follow you all over the place all the time everywhere. And some people are like, all right, we know other people are doing this stuff, and I'm going to stay in my lane because this is not the fight that I've dedicated myself to. And to be quite frank, the players that are dedicating their fight to it, 9 out of 10 of them, I don't really trust that much. So it's like, I think the documentary, I hope it's amazing. It seems like a lot of people like it, but I don't like the idea of pressuring people to cover it or basically outing private text messages in a fit because they wouldn't play the entire trailer, only select segments or something. So you get what I'm saying? That's just my take on all of that. So when it comes to the election stuff, people have been trying to bully people for 2 years over it. And it's like sloppy and aimless, just like the Capitol thing, in my opinion. Someone said, anomaly, you need a vacation. I mean, not really. I was under the weather the last couple of days, but I think I crushed it today. I'll read a few more comments. Someone said, there's a plan, not the one we want. Well, it's like in general, people can feel a certain way. It's like, just don't bully and be nasty to people when you want them to act like you. I don't like that. Let me see. We'll read a few more comments. May want to read what Fox said to Dinesh. I mean, it was a nasty back and forth, but it's like, why even post it publicly? I don't know. I could reread the whole thing, but to me, I read the first couple parts and it started with, do you want me to read it right now? I'll read it right now. Ready? I like Dinesh, but it's like he kind of started it. He was bad-mouthing Tucker on Twitter at the beginning. All right, ready? I'll read it. I'll read right now the first couple ones, and then you can go further if you want. All right. Let me see. Dinesh said, I had a very nice conversation with Tucker Carlson today. He assured me he had nothing to do with the texts that were sent to me. We have mended fences, and it's all good. We have both agreed it's time to focus our energies defeating the left and help saving the country. All right, perfect. So Dinesh and Tucker are fine, and he had nothing to do with the text. But I'm just going to read them real quick since I brought it up, unless Dinesh deleted them. Let me see if he deleted them or not. Let's see. Oh, no, he didn't yet. So he said, if you want to see, this is Dinesh. Apparently they're all good now, so that's great. Dinesh said, if you want to see how abusively, playing the victim, abusively Tucker Carlson and his Fox News team deal with people, read this thread. It's an exchange between Tucker's executive producer, Justin B. Wells. I'm releasing this exchange because it's the backstory to understand why Tucker recently had Catherine Engelbright of True the Vote. She was instructed not to mention 2,000 Mules, even though the movie was out and the whole discussion centered around the material of the movie. The story goes back to early February when I produced a teaser trailer for the upcoming film. Tucker invited Catherine to come on the show, and she recommended they run the teaser trailer to go with the interview. Everything seemed all set until one of Tucker's producers, a guy named Alex, told me they couldn't run the 90-second trailer. They wanted to use just 45 seconds. Turned out they wanted to cut my name, Salem Media, and any reference to the movie. So basically they wanted to steal our content and pretended like they produced it. I politely said no. I had earlier clarified with Alex that they should either use the full trailer or not, yet my refusal to let them go ahead provoke the following exchange. So before the text messages even come out, he wanted them to play a 90-second trailer, which is a long time to play a trailer on Fox News. 90 seconds is a long time on TV. They agreed to play 45 seconds of it, which is long. I would love for them to play 45 seconds of my clip. Dinesh said, oh, if you're not going to play the whole thing, then screw it. And then the exchange happened. So I'm not saying that what this guy said was nice following it, but do you get what I'm saying? That's kind of a dick move. Like, they're playing, you demand that they play 90 seconds. 90 seconds is like 30 minutes in television time. A lot of hits are like, when I was on television with Laura Ingraham, I only got to talk for like 20 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Some people get longer, but like, this all started because Dinesh threw a fit because they wouldn't play a 90-second trailer. They only played 45 minutes and then 45 seconds, and then he accuses them of trying to steal his content. Like, it's just corny, in my opinion. But I don't, him and Tucker made up for it, so it's all good. It's not between me, but it's like, oh, if you're not going to play 90 seconds, you're going to play 45 seconds. Oh, you're just stealing my stuff. They don't even play it at all. It's like, okay. And then the Fox guy lashed out at him and got upset. But I don't know. I don't like play the victim. Like, oh my God, I can't believe a corporate person said something mean to me. Oh my gosh. It's like, dude, come on, dude. I don't know. Yeah. Corporate people can't be people. They can't say anything. They just got to act totally professional. I don't know. I don't think they were trying to steal it. To me, it's just whack. But, I'm glad that they got along because they're both important figures, and it's definitely not the time to just bash Tucker Carlson because he only was going to play 45 seconds of your 90, second documentary. I don't know. Someone said 45 seconds without giving him credit. Well, basically, he was taking out the Salem media part. I mean, we'll see, but I highly doubt they were just going to steal credit and say it was theirs. I'm sure he could have, given it an intro, but I don't know. I don't really care. It's not my drama at this point. I'm just saying it seemed kind of douchey to me, but whatever. Someone said your bars on Controlled are beautiful. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. Someone said the WHO treaty. I'll look into it for sure. I've heard it, but I got to do more research and see if it's really happening. But it very well could be. I saw Michelle Bachmann talk about it. Let's see. Someone said you don't really know what happened. I mean, he posted all of the private text, so whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. Tucker and Dinesh have gotten over it. I don't know. I think it seemed a little bit of an exaggeration, but whatever. Thank you, Shirley. I appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out Australia. When am I having a show? What kind of show? I will be performing soon, actually, and maybe speaking. Someone said, I don't think you understand when you spend a lot of money on movies, you don't want Fox News to profit from your trailer, and then you have the names of your movie of every reference you moved. Here's the thing, though. Fox is not going to profit off of this trailer. Fox makes a killing. Tucker Carlson's the biggest show on television. He doesn't need to play a trailer of a documentary to get money. So this is how I know you guys are lying. I'm not trying to be rude, but you're asking Tucker to do you a favor, and then he says he's going to do it partially or something, and now you're throwing a fit as if he's stealing your money. Then don't go on the show. You know what I'm saying? Tucker Carlson does not need Dinesh D'Souza's documentary to make money. So it's this, to me, this would be such scummy behavior. If someone came to me to be on the show for promotion, I said a certain amount was whatever, and then they're like, oh, you're trying to steal my stuff. It's you guys are just, do you believe yourself? Do you believe that Tucker Carlson and Fox News need a 90-second or a 45-second clip of Dinesh D'Souza's documentary to generate income and revenue, that this is going to be some massive cash cow for them? It's going to literally do nothing. It's not even that important for their. And I'm not a Fox or Fox fanatic. I'm just saying, like, they have a business model. They make a lot of money. Nothing about promoting Dinesh's documentary is going to do any sort of is going to make any sort of money for them. Like, do you really believe that, God's watching, that Fox is going to profit massively off playing a 90-second or 45-second clip of the trailer? Like, come on, guys, give me a break. They sell enough pharmaceutical pills commercials to make billions. Like, they don't need a 45-second clip to profit off of. Like, that. This is why I know I'm right. It's like, come on. Someone said, I love my God bless hat. Do you sell underwear too? No. Someone said, why not watch it for free and post a review? I probably will watch it, and I'll post a review on Rumble or something. I'm going to read more. Someone said, if anything, it'll draw attention to the film. Yeah, I highly doubt Tucker was just going to play a clip from the film and then take credit for it. And also, here's the thing, though. If people really care about election fraud, do you want to get the message out there, or are you just trying to, gatekeep? It's like, get the message out there. I don't even care. Fox can use my content. These people have way more money than me, and they're concerned over he's stealing my content. It's like, I don't know. If you guys want to believe that Fox News desperately needs a 45-second clip from a documentary to generate revenue, you're lying to yourself. Someone said, I believe Dinesh is showing his greed, and that's disappointing. He could have made the movie available for less than $30 and be concerned about getting the message. I mean, I'm not trying to knock it, but yeah, $30 is a steep price for a documentary, and complaining about not getting, they're trying to, it's like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, where did the money that Trump raised for election fraud, where is that money? Nobody cares, because everybody will jump on any election fraud ship and sail it off to the 7 seas. Nobody cares about anything. If you say, I'm Arizona, I'm some lady, and I'm going to fight election fraud, people will just give you millions of dollars. I'm going to fight election fraud. Trump won in all 50 states. He won California by 95%. People are like, give my money, damn it, give my money. Like, that's where this conversation has gone. That's why I can't speak for Tucker, but I'm wildly just bored by it, because it's not to say it's not real. It's just like the people running the show are just annoying, egotistical, making a lot of money, bullying people, gatekeeping it. It's it's getting annoying. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal opinion. It's it's not about the money, but it's a lot of money to watch it. It's okay. I get it. It's everybody wants to make money, for sure. Absolutely. I agree. Make it $100 a documentary. I don't care. But it's at a certain point, I don't know. The least you could do is not publish private text messages from Tucker's producer guy. Can you not do that? I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'm old school. I don't publish any text messages that I did with anybody. I consider that private. And I just think it's a scummy move to do that. I mean, I don't know. I'm old school. But some people, that's just what they do. It's he was only going to play 45 seconds of a 90-second trailer, so I'm going to now publish private text. But I'm going to make up with him in 4 hours. It's whatever. I don't know. I want to see, wait. Someone said, great impression of the lady from Arizona. It's just I'm Arizona lady. I'm a crazy mom. I'm a crazy conservative mom, just like your mom that you knew in your neighborhood. And if you give me enough money, I'm going to fix the frickin' election. And I can promise you, Arizona, that Donald Trump won California by 99%. I'm not going to be believable and just say that it was stolen in Atlanta and Wisconsin, which most people would probably believe. I'm going to say that he won in all 50 states. Donald Trump won California by 99% vote. I mean, the election was, it's I believe that in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and states like that, I do believe it's only a couple 10,000s of votes that could sway the whole election. So I think I should be on Democrat cities and I like ballots. And I agree with all that, but like you got some of these dingbats literally saying he won all 50 states, and you got millions of people running circles around it. It's just made me like wildly just annoyed by it's like I don't have to act like everybody else. I don't want to, and that's fine. It's just like when I see people like bullying and pressuring and like releasing private info just to like guilt people on this topic, it's like it's annoying. I remember some chick tried to, God bless her, but I remember some chick tried to like blackmail me over like QAnon stuff where like it was literally a minor disagreement. It was just like there's like a ship off the shore and she's claiming this ship has human trafficking victims on it, and it literally didn't. So I was just like, I don't agree with that. And then she starts blackmailing me over this. And it's like, that type of bullying is just crazy to me. It's like, if you don't agree with my theory on this, it's like, relax, Believing that there's pedophiles on a freaking ship near Guantanamo is not going to save the children. It's only just confusing the shit out of people to the point where there's like millions of MAGA moms who have lost their mind watching like X-22 report. They literally like, I'm reading some Facebook post from the Philippines, and the lady's like, Nasara Gesara, fully activated. Jesus is back. Trump is Jesus. Return to the Lord. The financial system's been freed. We're all freed. It's like, lady, you live in the Philippines where you can't even walk to a 7-Eleven without a mask on. You're not free. But it's like people are like hallucinating these like theories to like make themselves feel better, which is fine. But I don't know. It's like you don't have to bully people into feeling that way because everybody doesn't want to act that way. Let's see. Someone said, dude had to pay millions to get the data on the mules. It's okay to get the money back. I get it. I absolutely get it. I hope he makes all the money back. It's just, I don't like to see him bully. Like, I feel like if they're giving you certain airtime, but it's not exactly what you want, and then your response to it is just like, okay, well, now that we got in a fight, I'm going to post. I think you lose when you post the private text. That's my opinion. I don't know. I think that's a lame move, in my opinion. Super lame. But everybody's not like me. I get it. Some people think it's totally okay to just, get in an argument with somebody, release their private text, and then play the victim completely. It's whatever. I'm just not built like that. Grow Love Bear said, I think Alana Park from Jesse Lee Peterson's Next to Last Show could be your future wife. She has the kindest eyes and reminds me of you. Thank you, Grow Love Bear. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. Someone said, I agree, you don't bully people. Well, especially when it's like someone who works with Tucker, like, unless you're like Project Veritas doing an undercover investigation or something, you're just going to go after Tucker's guy because you guys got in an argument. I don't know. I've gotten in plenty of fights and things have got nasty with my friends. Things go sour sometimes in business. The last thing I would ever do, say what you want, I would never do that. I would never publish private anything unless I had to for court reasons or something, unless I was like on trial and something got crazy and someone's lying about me and I had to prove proof or something. I just think it's like the lowest of the low. But people do it all the time. I was just listening to the Nelk Boys podcast. I like the Nelk Boys. They're reading text messages from Mark Wahlberg. I like the Nelk Boys, but I think that's pretty corny too. Like everybody wants to do it for clout nowadays, or it's like, people don't have no respect for each other anymore. But that's fine. It's like, I don't know, whatever just happening to arguing with somebody and handling your business. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a good idea to just publish everybody's private text all the time and just act like, every fight is the biggest drama thing, whatever. Someone said people who screenshot are mental. Well, it reminds me of like women or men who always complain about the other gender too. Like I'm sure some of you follow somebody or know somebody, guy or girl, by the way, a lot of girls, but also guys, where they're like, toxic people. It's like, if you're posting about toxic people 10 times a week on Instagram, you are the toxic person. Let me just tell you. It's like, the man who's like, oh, women suck. I'm like, we get it. You're a douchey guy and you can't get women. So now you're hating the entire gender. We get it. It's like, that's just my mental filter for any of this stuff. It's like, if you complain about your ex one time, I feel bad for you. If it's like your entire personality is like complaining about toxic men, you're the toxic woman. If your entire personality is a man complaining about toxic women, you're the toxic guy. You're like, have you ever seen me complain about toxic women like all the time? No, because I've met them and then I just move on with my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's not the right one. Move on. It's like, it's not like this is my whole life now. It's you. You're the problem. That's how I feel like when it comes to like public text and stuff. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, if you're getting to the point where you got to post that, like, I don't know. It's like, you think I've never gotten in arguments over business and or personal stuff with anybody? You think it's never gotten ugly with corporations, etc.? I don't know. A news outlet, I'm not publishing private info. Not happening. Someone said, what's a woman anomaly? Good question. I don't know. Ask Sean Hannity what a woman is. He'll tell you it's Caitlyn Jenner, and then he'll call you a homophobe if you disagree. Someone said, God bless you, anomaly. You have Jesus, class, respect, and love your common sense. To wrap it up, I'll stay for a little bit longer, but I'm not trying to inject myself in the situation because it seems like Tucker Carlson and Dinesh D'Souza have like cleared it up. But that's all I wanted in general. I think Tucker deserves it at this point, and I think Dinesh deserves it. But when you make something private like that public, I just can't help but have an opinion, especially because, I think Tucker's really one of the only good ones left in like the public sphere. He reminds me of like a Rogan or Alex Jones. I don't agree with everything they say, but, once they strike them down, it's like, you're next. We've all faced some sort of persecution from wicked press. The last thing we need to do is really like be going after each other in that way. But this is how I also feel too. And maybe this is rarity. I think this is my kind heart. But even when it comes to journalism and stuff, if you realize when I talk about Trump or anybody ever, Dinesh ever, I always preface it with Dinesh has a lovely family. His daughter, I believe, supported my content for a while. Dinesh has been very nice to me. I always preface it with that because I have a kind heart and I want to just let people know I'm coming from a good place because I actually like and value both of those people for different reasons. But, in the media and stuff, people try to come at people so personally and so, I would say, like underhandedly, and the world would be a better place if people just stuck to what was important. If you do something like super illegal and evil in your personal life, it deserves to be out there. But as far as like petty disagreements and stuff, like the way they're coming at Madison Cawthorn, I don't know. It's like, clearly they just don't like the guy. It is what it is, but it's like, I don't know. I just find it so grimy. When I go after Trump in certain ways, it's always like public information that he's put out there. I'm not trying to like dig into his personal life and be a scumbag. It's like he's the president. He's done public policy. I have an opinion about those policies. That's how I treat it. I just try to treat people with a certain level of like respect and dignity where it's like, I wouldn't want them to be that brutal on me because it's just like unnecessary and evil. And I wouldn't want to do it to them, to Dinesh, to Tuck. So I guess I feel a certain way when somebody posts private info because it's just a scummy move. Now it's like bringing this drama that didn't even have to exist in the public sphere with one of the best news hosts on the planet. And it's bringing it to the public eye on Twitter, which it doesn't need to be. As a man, you got to just settle your business differences privately. There's plenty of people that I don't like. There's plenty of people I've had bad businesses and fallouts with. And I don't know. I guess I just like, I could say my opinion publicly, but I'm not going to like just like screenshot emails and texts and like put them on Twitter. To me, that's just like the lowest form of like, political discourse when left wingers do it, when media does it. And, I just hate to see people do it to Trump or Tucker Carlson or Dinesh. I just don't like that. I think it's like the lowest form of trying to get the public on your side. Unless it's in a court or something, there's just, in my opinion, like no need for that. But, that's just how I feel. I don't know. I'm gonna read a few more. I got some energy. Let's see. Someone said he did not pay for the geo-tracking. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole nother issue that I've kind of been raising awareness to. I'm not trying to be rude, but geo-tracking is creepy in general. It's creepy when they do it for the documentary. It's creepy when Democrats do it. So this idea of geo-tracking is like contact tracing. I think that alone is like an invasion of privacy, but I don't know. I mean, am I wrong? I think that's creepy as hell. And everyone's like, yeah, let's geo-track the Democrats. And then they're like, let's geo-track Republicans. And I'm like, I have a crazy libertarian idea. Let's not geo-track anybody. And I'm not paranoid. I get it. I have every app on my phone. I'm probably being tracked everywhere I go. It's whatever. I'm not like this paranoid freaking ninny, but it's like, I also don't like the direction that it's going. It's kind of creepy that at any point, your political enemies on the left wing or right wing can just pull up your freaking, and just track you and trace you. Is that not a little weird to people? It's not like I have that much to hide with where I go, but it's just still creepy, is it not? Like, I don't want, even if I just go to the gas station, I'm not really wanting Dinesh D'Souza or, Hillary Clinton to really be tracing my every footstep. Like, oh, anomaly goes. Someone said your phone does it from cell phone test. I know it's not like left wingers are right. It's just like, it's creepy. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. It's just, it's creepy. And it's being normalized. It's been normalized through January 6th, and now it's being normalized through the right-wing culture sphere. And I just find it not cool, in my opinion. But I'm not trying to be like this unpopular person. Seriously, I'm such a sensitive person in some ways. I just like to be liked. I'm not trying to be unpopular, but I just can't help it. I'm not a follower. So whenever it's like geo-tracking's awesome, and I'm like, is it though? I don't know. I find it's like kind of weird. Someone said geotrack is a great thing if you're a snake. Well, I don't know. It's like everything now is unfortunately, not what it used to be in that direction, and there's nothing you can really do about it. There's pros and cons, but I definitely don't like the idea of the government and corporations or your political enemies. I don't like the idea that they can literally just track and trace you and ping things and buy the data from the cell phone towers. Like, to me, that's the first thing I thought. When I talked to DC Drano, shout out DC Drano, good guy. I'll consider him a friend. DC Drano was telling me about the documentary before I even knew about it. And he was explaining it to me, and I'm dumb, but like, I didn't know what it was. And he's telling me about this tracking stuff. And that's, if you guys remember the podcast with DC Drano, he's introing it as if like he's like, there's all this geo-tracking stuff. And I'm thinking the documentary is going to be about, right-wingers exposing geo-tracking and how screwed up it is and how the government's tracking us everywhere. And then I find out 30 seconds into his explanation that it's actually right-wingers geo-tracking left-wingers to try to expose the election. And I'm like, damn, that took a turn, because when he started talking about it, I'm thinking the whole documentary is going to be about exposing geo-tracking, but it's not. It's about using geo-tracking to expose the election. But that's the first thing I thought when DC Drano was explaining it. I was like, that's actually, in my opinion, super creepy that anybody, left-wingers, right-wingers, anybody with enough money or access to data can just get information on people. It just like track their movements. I mean, but we live in a world with like Google Maps and everything's like freaking mapped. I get it. We live in a virtual world, but it is, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit odd to me that no one thought that. But I don't know. That's just what I thought. I can't help my brain. I didn't put a Neuralink in it yet. Someone said not true. I don't even know what I said that's not true. But okay. Someone said my thoughts exactly. I think we like you more because you're fiercely independent. You got your own. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Someone said no one needs that much power. Well, it's like, I guess that's just how I think about it. It's like, if right-wingers can use it for good, the left-wingers are going to use it for bad. So, whatever. Have I seen Google balloons? No. Someone said, if we don't draw a hard line in the sand, we will fall. Twitter can trace your movements. Everything can do a lot of things. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. But, it's not worth being paranoid over. It's just worth having a conversation about for sure. I don't know that anybody's even trying to reverse course on any of this stuff. That's why it's funny when people get Elon, mad at Elon. I'm not saying Elon's perfect, and he clearly is not going to always be our ally. But, it's in a weird way, he is, you could say, normalizing a lot of this stuff, but he's also bringing awareness to it. He's the only one talking about AI and symbiosis. I'm not saying he has good intentions, but it's happening anyway, and nobody was talking about it till Elon Musk. So the positive is he brought it to conversation. This stuff has been happening forever, and there's not a single politician that even seems to remotely care. No one has a plan. No one talks about it. No one's trying to stop it. So in order to stop something, you would have to talk about it. So, in a weird way, I almost appreciate Elon for that, because he brings this conversation about what's happening to the forefront when no one's talking about it. And in order to combat it, you got to even know it's happening. But let's see. Someone said, don't chip your babies. Probably a good plan. I agree. Do not put chips in your babies. Good idea, unless they're potato chips. Have I ever listened to Andy Frisella's podcast? I haven't, but someone told me to, and then I found out he followed me on Instagram, and I followed him back. And he had invited me to go to his podcast years ago, but I never saw the message. And I responded to him, and I think he still follows, but I totally missed the invite. So I would love to chat with him sometime. I literally didn't see it. Let's see. Someone said potato chips. Yeah, don't put a Neuralink chip in your baby's head. Put a potato chip in their mouth. No, I don't know. I'm just playing. Someone said it started with chipping pets. They chip pets. I guess you put a microchip in your pet if you're too lazy to do another way. They're if you put a chip in your pet, you could track them down if you lose them. I guess it probably works, but people just care about dogs and cats less than humans. Almost, I would say sometimes more, but you're whatever, just chip your dog. You're okay, sounds legit. I don't want to lose him. Now they're going to be chip your baby. Just chip your baby. It's fine. Just chip your baby. You don't want to lose your baby. You're oh, it makes sense. I'll chip my dog. Have I read the Patriot Act? Have I read the entirety of it? I can't say so, but I have read parts of it, and I always kind of assumed it would be used against Americans. So we'll see. Dude, just chip your baby. It's fine. If your baby ever crawls to, Chuck E. Cheese, you could just teleport them with the Neuralink. It'll be fine. I'm just kidding. Someone said my aunt's dog is chipped. I'm unfamiliar with dog culture. Do they chip dogs so you don't lose them or something? If you chip your dog, we'll bring them to a PetSmart and, put a chew toy in their mouth. It's pretty funny, but in a messed up way. Whatever. How many algorithms does Elon need to manipulate you? I mean, I don't know. I think social media already kind of has that impact on people. All right, folks, I'm going to take off. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thanks for being here. I was a little under the weather this week. I still am, actually. You could probably hear it. I'm going to heal up. And once again, I regret, now that I have experienced some sort of flu, I regret not being shaped like Bill Gates. Because if I was shaped like a sloppy potato salad, I probably could have, combated this a little bit better. It was a little rough. I need to get into Gates shape, as they call it, and just get a little, Perry, if you know what I mean. All right, appreciate y'all. Have a good week, and I'll be back soon.